guys, it's Amanda from The Fiction Fairy, and today I'm bringing you a review, and the review is on Side Effects May Vary by Julie Murphy. This is being released by Bolzer and Bray on March 18th, 2014. This book was a good feels read at the beginning. This is about a girl named Alice and her best friend Harvey. Alice, and everything that I'm saying is on the back of the book. This is a non-spoiler review, so let me say that again. This is a non-spoiler review. Anything that I say you can find on the back of the book, or they are not major spoiler plots. So you can continue watching if you have not read it. If you have not received an arc of it, you can continue watching. So the relationship between Alice and her best friend Harvey is a centralized point in this book. The chapters are told in alternating versions of Alice then, before she was diagnosed with leukemia, and Alice now, when she is diagnosed with leukemia, and Harvey then, before Alice was diagnosed with leukemia, and Harvey now, while Alice is diagnosed with leukemia. The book starts off basically with Alice living a regular high school life, doing regular high school things, having a boyfriend, hanging out with friends, the normal day-to-day ins and out of a high school life. You have your ups, you have your downs, but everything was primarily going fantastic in her life. There are major social things that happen to her, and there are major family things that end up happening to her right at the beginning of the book. I'm talking maybe 10 pages in is when the world starts to essentially fall apart. And the author really sets you up for what is to come. So, you know, Alice has these two major events that happen in her life, one in her social world and one in her family world, and it sets you up for what's going to come later on in the book. Then Alice finds out, on top of both of those two issues that happen, that she is diagnosed with leukemia. And the dynamics of what happens to her family when she's diagnosed with leukemia, what happens to her friendships when she's diagnosed with leukemia, and what happens with her friendship with Harvey when she's diagnosed with leukemia are centralized points. At the beginning of this book, it was completely heart-wrenching for me. I think that cancer is something that tends to resonate with most people because most people have been touched by it, whether it's with immediate family or friends or those in passing, some way, somehow. It seems like everybody's been touched by it. Leukemia, I have definitely been personally and immediately affected by it. So reading the beginning of this book, I was a ball of tears. I did not expect to be a ball of tears. I knew she was diagnosed with leukemia, but I didn't necessarily think that I would feel the way I did about Alice in the book. And it was emotional, and it was hard for me to get through the beginning half of the book. It's just the emotions, just things I've gone through in my life and what happens when somebody gets diagnosed with it and how it affects the family positively, negatively, and how it affects the person who is diagnosed. So kind of like being inside the head of a person, especially a teenager who's diagnosed, you see things from a different point of view and view light. So Alice gets diagnosed with leukemia, and she decides that she wants to do a bucket list. And this is where the book kind of takes a bit of a turn for me. The bucket list, as it says on the back of the book, it's not your traditional bucket list. She's not trying to go to Paris. She doesn't want to go see a Justin Bieber concert. She doesn't want to go to LA and put her hand on every one of the hands that the celebrities did or see all their stars. She doesn't want to do what a normal bucket list would seem to be. Her bucket list is a revenge list. And what she's basically doing is she's going to try to write all the things that she feels were done wrong to her before she leaves the earth. And the concept of that, I got where they were going. That, you know what, sometimes you're just like, you know what, I'm leaving this earth anyway. I'm going to get back everybody who did wrong things to me because that's what they deserve. And maybe if you were going to live, you would not have done that because there's consequences for those actions. If you go and punch somebody in the face because they said something wrong to you, there's a consequence for that action. If you're going to die and you punch somebody in the face, the likelihood of them retaliating against you is slim to none, and if they did, who cares? You're dying anyway, so you don't really have to deal with all of the consequences that would come at you the way you would if you did these vengeful things and you were going to live. And that's basically what Alice does. She figures, hey, look, my time is short. I'm not going to live out the repercussions of this anyway, so you know, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show people that what you did was wrong, and I'm going to get everybody back. And she enlists the help of her best friend Harvey. And Harvey loves Alice so much as a friend, and he just is in love with her. They've known each other since they were kids, and he has this just undying love and affection for her. He would go to the moon and back for her if Alice asked. So Alice starts to complete her list, and I expected it to kind of be a bit funny when she was completing the list, kind of like, yeah, Revenge of the Nerds type thing. And it really wasn't. It wasn't funny. It made me very angry with Alice. It kind of made me feel like, you know, when people go through something that's like a life or death situation, a close call, it's kind of when you have one of those like come to Jesus moments, whether you're Christian or not. It's kind of like one of those come to Jesus moments where you really reevaluate who you are, who you were, and who you want to be, and you kind of like get your stuff together. And I kind of hoped that that would be what it would be like for her, kind of like a, you know what, I need to get my stuff together, and it wasn't. The vengeful things she did to me were not funny. They were very hurtful to the people, and I understand that they had hurt her too, but kind of like how your parents always say, two wrongs don't make a right, and for me, I don't really feel like Alice got that point. And maybe somebody else who was reading it would say, no, she totally got it. You know, she felt bad. But for me, I didn't feel it. And maybe it was because I had totally written Alice off at that point, and I was very, very upset with her that I couldn't see it. So she enlists Harvey, and she like just drags Harvey into all this crap. And you have to remember that Alice is dying. Harvey is going to live, so she might not have all these repercussions afterwards, but she's not even thinking about the fact that Harvey is helping her, and he is going to be here once she's gone. You know, like, she was just the most selfish, dying person I have ever seen in my life, and I work in a field where I deal with people who are terminally ill on a daily basis, and I have just... It's a rarity to find somebody who is just this selfish. Oh my God, you were supposed to love the girl, but I hated her. You know, there's a big moment about 75% way through the book that just really shakes Alice's world. Makes it you just, it tumbles over, topsies over, and it changes the book completely. And when it changed the book completely, I felt a bit vindicated in it, but then at the same time there was still Harvey, and he was kind of just like left reeling at everything that Alice had done, said, the emotions she had brought out of him, just everything. Just that moment is a pivotal moment in the book because it changes absolutely everything for the last 25% of the book. So that moment happens, and that's when Alice and Harvey's relationship really shifts. It makes a huge change. A lot of things come out from the beginning of the book with Alice in that moment, and all the characters change. There's all these revelations that happen, and Alice still is the same. Like, I just never felt like I didn't feel like she grew at all in this book. I felt like she was just selfish Alice, selfish Alice, selfish Alice the entire way through. Like, I didn't see any growth in this character whatsoever. In the conclusion of the book, you know, it was just Harvey is the one who grew. Harvey becomes this different person. Harvey is one person at the beginning of the book, one person at the middle of the book, and Harvey is a completely different person at the end of the book from everything that he's gone through with Alice, from her bucket list to her having leukemia, to the revelations that happen 75% into the book. He becomes a completely different person, and I could appreciate what the author did for his character, and I enjoyed Harvey's character a lot. However, the book for me, from the beginning to the middle, I would have given it a 4 out of 5 cupcakes. From the middle to the end, I would have given it maybe 2.5 out of 5 cupcakes, and that's really low, guys. Like, it was kind of like one of those, you want to go up on a roller coaster. At the beginning of the book, you're on a roller coaster, you're going up, you're like, wow, this is it. This is like just going to get better and better and better, and you're waiting for that come down, just that whoosh of emotion, just that, oh wow, this was a great read, and it just leveled off. It was just like up, 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 and leveled off, and you're kind of like, okay, was it supposed to do that? So I really didn't get it. It was almost like 2 different books were put together. The beginning was this fantastic contemporary story, and then the ending was more like a burn for burn Gossip Girl type of book, which are good on their own, but when you try to put the two together, it really just didn't resonate with me. I didn't love it. Together, like I said, 4 out of 5 cupcakes at the beginning, 2.5 out of 5 cupcakes at the end. Guys, I can't even give this any more than a 3, and for me, if a book is not at least a solid 4, I can't recommend it to anybody. I don't want it on my shelf. I don't want to ever reread it again. I don't ever want to talk about it again. It just, for me, was just not a good book. Of course, when it comes out on the 18th, if you want to pick it up, give it a try for yourself. I would definitely encourage that, and come back and let me know what you thought about the book. Whether you liked it, you didn't like it, any parts you liked or didn't like. Let me know what your thoughts kind of were on it. Because I just wondered if anybody feels the same way. I've never hated a character as much as I hated Alice. I don't think you're supposed to do that. I think you're supposed to have feel bad for her at the beginning, and I think you're supposed to have a little bit of moments towards her, towards the middle, for the things that she was doing. But I think you're supposed to come back to her at the end, and I loved her and then hated her. I did not come back to Alice, not at all. So for me, guys, like I said, this was not a good read for me. I did not enjoy it whatsoever at all. I got where the author was going, but I just felt like Alice was one of the most poorly developed characters that I've seen in a long time, and I just did not really care for her. And it was unfortunate because the story actually had a fairly good storyline. I could see where it was going. I can see how everything was interconnected and woven, and how certain events made Alice's actions be certain ways, and it was showing you that and showing you what a person's going through, but it really just did not capture me the way that I thought it was going to, and the way that I really wished it was going to, because I really wanted to love this book and I just didn't, and that was unfortunate. So like I said, guys, if you guys pick this up, if you haven't already, you've read it, please leave me comments in the comment section below. Let me know if you liked it, didn't like it, what you liked or didn't like about it, what your feelings were about it, because I really want to know if anybody else felt like me, or if you feel completely different than me and say, I don't know what you were reading, because I love this book. So just let me know in the comments below, and thank you so much for coming by to watch my review of Side Effects May Vary.